We're starting on page 103 for your grammar today. So go ahead and turn to page 103. The good news is it's a really short lesson, and I'm happy about that. That's always a good day. All right, 103, it says, learn it, and we're doing usage. And it says some words are close in spelling, but have different meanings and uses. Correctly use the words then and than. So we've got, let me let Paisley in really quick. Then and than, and sometimes they sound the same when you're reading it quickly in a sentence. So it can be a little confusing, but there is totally different usage for each one of those. Then with an E is an adverb meaning next or immediately after. You guys already know that. So then Robin approached the log. It was then Robin's turn. Than is a word used to show a comparison. The stranger was taller than Robin. So you already know that, I'm sure, but this is just reminding you then and than are used differently and spelled a little bit differently. But they're pretty close. So that's what's tricky about it. In this grammar book from now on, you might have these errors that you'll have to fix. So you're going to just place a line through the incorrect word and then write the correct word above it. So then Robin, who was smaller than the stranger, taunted him. So they had the incorrect spelling and basically draw a line through it and put the correct spelling on top. So it's pretty straightforward. And that's it for the lesson for grammar. Hi, Paisley. She's still connecting. Okay, well, let's go on. It's easy. She can catch up. We're going to go to the practice page 105. Back out of this a little bit. There we go. Let's see. Abby, would you mind reading this sentence to us today?
Sure. Robin Hood then goaded the giant man. I'm ready, stranger. Fight me if you dare.
Ooh, got some challenging fight words here. That's exciting. Goaded. That's a word we don't use very often or hear very often, but it means provoked or annoyed. So he's kind of pushing this guy. He's this giant man. So he's basically picking a fight. That's what he's doing. So goaded means provoking or picking a fight with somebody. All right, so let's put a check by vocabulary word there. And then our articles. And you can go ahead and mark those. There's only one. It's pretty easy. Check. Okay, nouns. Oh, Paisley's having trouble, I think, with her internet. Bronx, 3 nouns.
Robin.
Okay, and it actually would be Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
There we go. Okay, that's 1.
Stranger.
Yes.
Fight.
Fight is actually a verb in that sentence. There's only one more. Now.
Man.
Yeah, man, there you go. Okay. Paisley, can you hear me now? You got it? Okay. Okay, we're on page 105. And I did record it. If you want to go back and listen to that first part that you missed later, you can. Okay. So we did nouns, pronouns, Abby.
The I and I'm.
Yes. So we're going to squeeze it in there right above the I. That's good.
Me.
Me. Yep.
And then you.
Yes. Awesome. Easy. Adjectives describe the nouns. So Paisley, a lot of times they come right before the noun. So that's kind of a clue. And there's 2 of them. Go ahead and unmute.
Giant.
Yes, giant is one. This one's kind of tricky. So if you need help, I can help you with it.
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. It's a tricky one. It's actually ready because it's describing the pronoun I. I'm ready. So ready is actually describing, well, the pronoun I. Oh, hold on a second. Stranger. I'm ready, stranger. Okay, so he's talking to the stranger. Yeah, it's kind of weird when the quotation marks are not in there. Huh. I think they messed up on my answer key here. No closing in there. Oh, okay. Sorry. I confused myself. I'm back. I'm all right. So those are the 2 adjectives, giant and ready. Ready is describing the pronoun I. Okay. Adverb adds to the verb, but I think we should skip to the subject verb pairs first. I think that'll help us a lot. So Bronx, how about verbs? Let's start with verbs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in here.
Goaded.
Goated, yep.
Just verbs. Like
Just
do the
verbs for now. Yeah, just verbs.
Stranger.
That one we already have as a noun. So not that one. Think of action.
Then.
Say it again.
Then.
No, think of down here at the bottom. What is he doing? What is he daring him to do?
Fight.
Fight. So that's the verb. And then dare is also an action. So that's a verb. The other one is a helping verb, which is am right here. So the am in I'm is actually a verb as well. It's a helping verb. So I'm going to squeeze a V in right here. That was kind of a tricky one. Okay, so we've got goaded, am, fight, dare. And to find the subject, because we need to connect the verbs to the subject. So Abby, if you have goaded, who are we talking about in that sentence? What's the subject?
Robin Hood.
Yes, Robin Hood. So, and then Paisley, the second sentence, we're talking about am, stranger, fight, dare. Actually, that's a separate sentence. So let's just look at I'm ready, stranger. So the verb is am. Who are we talking about here? What's the subject?
I.
Yes, you're correct. And then Paisley, how about this last one? Fight me if you dare. So we've got a couple of subject verb pairs in this part too. This is tricky. So fight me if you dare. Who are we talking about
Me.
here? Say it again.
Me.
Actually, it's you. So fight me if you dare. So the subject is you right here. You dare. This is when we have an invisible subject. Remember we talked about that? I think it was last week or maybe even the week before. Right here, and I'm actually going to just squeeze it in with a little caret here. And I'm going to put you in parentheses. You fight me if you dare. So that's one of those that has an invisible subject. Fight me if you dare. So actually, you would be another subject right here. So the subject that goes with fight is you fight. The subject that goes with dare is you dare. Okay, I know that's a little tricky when it's invisible like that, but that's implying that he's talking directly to the person, the stranger. All right, so those are all the subject verb pairs, so we can mark that. That's way down here. Now let's go back up to the adverb. So an adverb asks like when or what kind or how many. So Bronx, or are we on? Yeah, we're on Bronx. So the verb is goaded. What's an adverb that describes a little bit more about goaded?
Giant.
Now, okay, so here's a clue. If it already has a label, it's not going to be one of those words. So it's going to be one that doesn't have a label. Remember, they can only operate as one part of speech at a time in a sentence. So it's going to be one of these that doesn't have a label on it yet. So if you look at goaded, it's right before that.
Okay, then.
Yeah, then. And if you ask yourself, Robin Hood goaded, that's a tricky one too.
If.
When he then, I guess you would ask a question like when, then goaded. This is a weird one. This is a weird lesson. Even though the first part was easy, this part is kind of tricky. All right. We have an adverb clause and we mark that with parentheses, and an adverb clause is, because this one's got a lot of different things to it here. I'm just checking my notes because I'm confusing myself. The adverb clause is if you dare. So let's put that in parentheses right here. If you dare. And we're going to label it AC. If you dare. I'm going to have to look back to see, why is that an adverb clause? Can anyone describe why you think that's an adverb clause? I'm going to look back in the lesson really quick here. Back on adverb clauses. Remember how to use your book. You can look at the table of contents in the front there. Adverb clause, the last time we talked about it was week 12. Go back to week 12. So that's a clause opener. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. I am drawing a blank on why that's an adverb clause. Let's look at week 10.
Isn't if a part of the words in the www.asia thing?
Ah, thank you, Abby. You just saved my life. Thank you. Yes, exactly. That's what it is. Let's write this in here just so we can remember. www. Actually, it should be for me to remember. Did you remember that, Bronx or Paisley? www.asia? No. Okay, good. I'm not alone. That's good. Okay. If is the I in Asia. You are correct, Abby. Thank you so much. So yes, if you dare is the adverb clause there. And then we've got the main clause. That's what we're going to mark with brackets. So let me get back to my page here. And Abby, you did great. Thank you for reminding me that. I'm going to skip you and go to Paisley next. Paisley, what about the main clause? that has a subject verb pair, and it looks like there's 3 main clauses in here. So let's just look at the first section here. What do you think the first main clause is? This is for Paisley. Make sure you unmute. Remember, a main clause has, oh, go ahead.
Robin Hood then goaded the giant man.
Yes. It has a subject verb pair. Good. That's exactly right. So that's the first main clause. And Bronx, what's the next main clause?
I'm ready, stranger.
It actually is saying is just I'm ready. I'm ready. It's ending on an adjective for that main clause. And then Abby, what's the other main clause? Last one.
Fight me?
Yes, fight me. Or you fight me if you included that invisible you there. Yeah, this is a weird one. This is so weird. It's really tricky to chop this one up, but those are the 3 main clauses. And then we have an opener right here where we start with the subject, Robin Hood. That's kind of an easy one to identify because there's a, it starts with subject. So this is a number 1 opener, and we're going to call it subject. Phew. We are going to indent because this is a new person speaking and a new situation coming into the story. So we're going to mark it with that backwards P looking symbol right here at the front. We've got 4 capitals. We know Robin Hood. And then I and I'm. And then fight for fight me. So that's the 4 capitals. We've got some commas we need to fix. Let's see, there's 1 that we need to add, and there's 1 we need to take away. So I think that's why it feels so choppy right here. I'm ready, stranger, because really that should be a comma right here after ready. I'm ready, stranger, because he's talking to the stranger. And fight me if you dare. We do not need the comma here after me. So you're going to take that one out. Just do a little squiggly line right there. Fight me if you dare goes all together. Now, this is what was confusing me a minute ago because I was looking at my notes in the teacher's edition and I'm thinking, what happened to the rest of the quotation marks? Because I know right here where he says, I'm ready, stranger, fight me if you dare. This is where he starts talking. So I'm going to put my quotation marks right there. It should be by I'm. But I'm not going to put the end of the quotation yet because on the next page, he continues talking. That's why. So we're going to leave the quotation open-ended here. And you'll see on the next page when you get to your homework, he continues talking, so you'll end up putting the end quotation mark later. End mark is just a period. It almost feels like you could put an exclamation mark there, fight me if you dare, but they're suggesting a period right here for the end mark. And then, of course, we're missing an apostrophe. Oh, no, it's already there. That was not supposed to be there. So that apostrophe, they wanted you to add. That is a typo. The apostrophe is already there. Okay, now that we're all confused, anybody have any questions? Oh, good. I'm glad because I don't have the answer today. There you go. Call Abby if you have any questions. All right. Let's put this away. No wonder your home teacher is probably your mom. No wonder she doesn't want to teach grammar. She's like, I will pay Mrs. Cisneros whatever she wants to teach grammar so that I don't have to do it. Please, oh, please. Okay. We need to organize our binder for a second here, get stuff situated. Let's go ahead and get your binders out. Mike the Headless Chicken. We're done. We are putting him away. We are burying Mike the Headless Chicken. Poor Mike. He has moved on to greener pastures, and now we're going to put him behind finished compositions.
We're burying him in the papers.
Burying him in the papers. Bye-bye, Mike. We love you. We won't really miss you, I don't think. So this one, your outline thingy that we don't use, the original story, Mike the Headless Chicken, your checklist, and then your outline and your story if you have it printed. Go ahead and stick it all behind finished compositions, putting that to rest. Rest in peace, Mike. And then you're going to go back to, hold on, what am I doing? Hold on, Captain Cook. That's what we're working on next. And I know we started that last week. So I just want to make sure you put Mike the Headless Chicken away. And now you should have these pages out of your binder in the front, which is the checklist. It's the original Captain Cook, which is 2 pages long. And then that outline page that we don't really use is together. Okay. We're going to do some class notes first. So go ahead and get out a lined piece of paper. Take some more class notes for you to refer to later. So go ahead and label your paper. I'm going to start putting Feb abbreviate, and you can if you want, or you can write it out, or if you prefer using numbers, I might do it different each time. It doesn't really matter. You can put 2, 7, 23 if you want. It's a little bit quicker. All right, we're going to do some class notes. I know we've talked about this before, but I want to go over this one more time just to make sure everybody's familiar with writing a report. So under class notes, I want you to put writing a report. And I want you to remember, we talked about this before. Go ahead and skip a line and put the word subject. And let's pretend for a second that our subject is oceans. What are some possible topics that we could write about if we want to write about oceans? What are some topics? Go ahead and just unmute and say whatever comes to your mind. What could we write about?
Fish,
Okay, fish,
the coral,
coral. I think I spelled that right. Coral. Could be like Pacific Ocean. Do you guys know the names of the oceans? What's another one? Atlantic. There's Indian Ocean. You could talk about the size of the ocean. Okay, you got the idea. So the subject is the broad part. This is the main thing that you're writing about. And then there's lots of topics you can choose within that. Now, if you go and pick like fish for one of your topics, then your facts about the fish would be even more details. So draw an arrow from fish and put facts, and we could put sharks, although those are probably not considered fish, huh? But for the sake of this, I'm going to have it sharks. What else? What other kind of types of fish would you find in the ocean? Tuna, I think, is in the ocean, right? I'm not a fisherman, so I don't really know. I'm just going off the top of my head. Oh, pufferfish. What about that?
Swordfish.
Swordfish. Let's do that. Swordfish. What else is found in the ocean? Do you guys know? Pufferfish, even though we don't really eat those. I'm thinking SpongeBob, okay? I know there's trout, but trout is not in the ocean. I think that's a freshwater fish. Anybody have any others that's found in the ocean? I mean, I know dolphins are there, but I think dolphins technically are mammals because they actually they breathe air. So, okay, well, let's stop there. But you get the idea, right? You got the overall subject, you got the possible topics, and then from there you find facts. That's kind of how that works. That's how it starts at the beginning. You focus on a subject, find the topics, and then find the facts. Okay, so we talked about this last week about Captain Cook, and I think you have some class notes about Captain Cook, where we talked about possible topics like his early life and skills and death. Do you guys have that in your notes? Okay, Abby, I see you nodding. That's good. So you don't need to write this down because I think you have it already. If you don't have it, you could write it down. But Captain Cook is our main subject. And then we've been looking for topics. And we talked about his early life, and that was your assignment for your homework, was to write about his early life. And I just wanted to point out that there is kind of a logical order when you're writing a report. If you're writing a report about a person, logically, it would make sense to talk about his early life, his or her early life first. And then, of course, you would save the death to the end. So there is kind of a logical order, but we also could talk about his skills, and we did mention death and his fame. I think you guys already have this on your notes. He had 3 voyages. First voyage, second voyage, oops, no S on that. Third voyage. Okay, now from there, and I'm just going to write facts, but you already know, look for facts. When was he born? And what did he do in his early life? And what did his parents and grandparents think that he was going to grow up to do? I might be mixing that with another story we did. Oh yeah, that was a different story. But anyway, what he did when he was young and growing up, what kind of subjects did he like in school, and then how he was promoted in his ranks. So that would be his early life. Okay. So now let's go back to any questions so far about what I'm talking about. I just wanted you to see the overall picture on how you write a report. You have the subject, then you have the topics, then you have the facts. Okay. So now we're going to look at Captain Cook again. So go ahead and pull that story out. We read this. I remember we read this last week, and we kind of went through it a little fast. And then you guys worked on your keyword outline for Roman numeral 1, which was his early life. So you have some ideas on what you can do for Roman numeral 2. And so what I'm going to do is kind of talk about that with you a little bit. First of all, based off of your notes from last week, are there any topics that stand out to you that you think would be good to write for your second paragraph about Captain Cook? You could write about his skills. You could write about his fame or one of his voyages. Anybody have any ideas yet on what they're going to write for the second part of their outline, Roman numeral 2? I would suggest either picking like his skills or his fame or one of his voyages. What do you guys think? Which of those topics do you think would be a good next paragraph for after writing about his early life? What do you think? How about
skills.
his skills? Okay. Were you going to say one, Abby?
I would say his first voyage.
His first voyage. Okay. Because remember, we're only writing 3 paragraphs. And this is one of those that has a lot of topics in it. So this is a tricky one, but yeah, you could pick one of his voyages because your last paragraph more than likely will be his death, right? And maybe his fame. You could do that together, what he was known for. And then, of course, how he died and what happened after he died. So really this middle paragraph, paragraph number 2, you've got a lot of choices. So let's say for a second, we pick one of his voyages, and he had 3 voyages. And so what you would do, and I'm just going to give you an example here, but you can pick for yourself because you guys are pretty good at this now. Let me find where his first voyage is. It gets back here. Oh, his very first voyage is actually on the front. Commanded a small schooner while surveying maps across the Okay, it is on this page 84 right here, where it starts with in 1768. So this is I think this is the first one where he, in 1768, the Royal Society planned a scientific expedition to the Pacific Ocean, and James Cook was chosen to command the voyage. So this is like his first voyage. And what happened during that voyage? Let me just peek for a second here. Yes, because the next voyage was on page 85. And that was the voyage in 1772. And then the third voyage is in July of 1776. So those are the years, 1768, 1772, and 1776. Those are the voyages that he went on. So let's just, for example here, we're going to pick the first voyage right here. And what I would do in the margin is just put first voyage. And you can write that next to, oops, you can't see that, can you? Now you really can't see it. How about that? You could write that second voyage next to the next date and third voyage, just so you can keep track of where the voyages are. But that would be a good one. But Bronx, I like your idea too. If you want to write about his skills, you can totally write about his skills in that second paragraph. So if we're focusing on the first voyage here, it's basically going to be this paragraph. And remember, on your story, on your keyword outline, you can find 5 to 6 facts about that topic. So looking at this paragraph in 1776, so that would be important to remember the date. And I'm just going to underline this. The Royal Society planned a specific expedition to the Pacific Ocean. James Cook was chosen to command the voyage. Commissioned as lieutenant and given a sturdy merchant bark, the HMS Endeavour, that was the name of the ship that he was in command of. he was instructed to transport scientists of the Royal Society to Tahiti. So I'm just basically underlining information, and I know you guys did some of this already from last week, but I just want to reiterate this to underline information that stands out to you, important or relevant or interesting. And they were observing the movement of Venus across the sun. Okay, I'm going to put that, observe the movement of Venus across the sun. He would then proceed south to find Terra Australis, a southern continent that many natural philosophers thought must exist. And it sounds like Australia, which later they found, but they thought there was another island out there. And there actually wasn't. This Terra Australis, they were looking in the wrong area for it. But that's what they did. They didn't have a map like we do now, so they didn't know what all was out there. So basically what I'm doing is looking for facts that I could use in my outline for the Roman numeral 2 for his first voyage. He proceeded south to find, oh, I already read that. I might put that in there, Terra Australis. After visiting Tahiti, he did sail southwest, but did not find a new continent. And I might mark that. He did not find a new continent. He eventually reached New Zealand, where he spent 6 months charting all the islands. See, you don't have to do this exactly like mine because you might already have lines on yours. That's okay. I'm just kind of modeling for you how to pick out facts about a topic. Then crossing the Tasman Sea, he came to Australia. That's when he discovered Australia and sailed north along its eastern coast, surveying and mapping as he went. So he crossed the Tasman Sea and he came to Australia, surveying and mapping as he went. After a couple of close calls with reefs, he stopped for repairs. Cook headed across the Indian Ocean around the southern tip of Africa and back to England to end his circumnavigation of the globe in 1771. I'm going to mark that. So I didn't mark everything, but I got pretty close. Okay. I'm just showing you an example. To mark up your page is fine with your story. So you can now use that information to transfer it to your keyword outline. So what I'm going to have you guys do is work on your keyword outline. You should already have Roman numeral 1 from last week. Do you have any questions? I know I'm going kind of fast. Do you guys have any questions so far? No? Okay. You guys already have 1 done. And then we've got a possible 6. We've been putting that in parentheses. If you have more to say, you can add it to 6. And then remember, we've got clincher here too. So now you should be working on Roman numeral 2 of your outline. And clincher. If you only have 5 facts about the topic, that is okay. If you have 6, that's okay. But I don't want you to have 4 or 7. It's either got to be 5 or 6. Okay. All that, I've been rambling. It's just a weird day for me today for whatever reason. That's all right. We have those days. You like how I self-talk to myself? I'm like, really, I don't have multiple personality disorder. I just am talking out loud today. Sometimes I just crack myself up. I mean, what can I say? All right. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to work on your Roman numeral 2. And you can use what I did for his first voyage and just start making a list. Remember the rule, 2 to 3 3 words. 3 words, symbols, numbers, abbreviations are free. And fill in Roman numeral 2. And Bronx, you can either choose to do the first voyage, and Paisley, same with you guys, or you can do his skills, go back to the beginning, look for his skills that he has. And go ahead and start. I'm going to give you a few minutes to work on Roman numeral 2 of your outline. Any questions about what you guys are doing right now? No questions. Paisley, are you good? Okay, so go ahead and start filling in Roman numeral 2 for your outline, and then we'll talk about it. I'll give you a few minutes to work. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to give you one more minute and then I'm going to show you what I came up with and we'll talk about yours. And it's okay if you're not done with the whole Roman numeral 2. If you are, great. If not, that's okay. Okay, go ahead and finish the one you're on. All right, I'm going to show you what I came up with because I worked with you while you guys were working. And yours is probably going to be different, or some of it might be similar. I'm having a hard time showing both things at the same time here, so I'm just going to kind of flip back and forth like this. So I focused on his first voyage like we practiced, a minute ago. So that's the one I decided to use for my Roman numeral 2. And I started with the date. I put here 1768, first voyage, Pacific Ocean. That's what I put on my first line for Roman numeral 2. And notice that they did come from the same sentence, but you don't have to follow that rule for every one of them. If they come from the same sentence, that's fine. But this is a little more free flowing. Like you just want to make sure to get the information pretty much in order, but it can come from multiple sentences. So, and then my next one under my topic sentence. So we're talking about his first voyage. I wanted to make sure to include that in my Roman numeral 2. And then for my regular number 1 under here, my next sentence, JC is not Jesus Christ this time, but it's James Cook. So we have James Cook, and then I have command, and then HMS Endeavor. And that's from this part that I underlined. I found command here because he was chosen to command. And then I skipped down here to what the name of the ship was that he commanded. I didn't write lieutenant and all that extra stuff, and you don't have to include it all, okay? Because like I said in the beginning, we're taking lots of facts and narrowing it down and just choosing 5 or 6 to write about for each topic. That's tricky. That might be still tricky for some of you. Number 2, I put transport, scientists, and then I drew an arrow to Tahiti. And right here, that's basically from that sentence, transport scientist of the Royal Society. I didn't include that part. The Royal Society, I might remember that as I go back and write the paragraph, but if I don't, that's okay. It's not super, super necessary. And then I put, for the next part, I put 2 eyeballs right here. Venus across sun. That's referring to that fact there, how he observed that. I put NZ for New Zealand, 6 months, charting islands. I just combined some of that sentence right there is where I got that from. And then I put crossing Tasman. I did the watermarks there for a symbol for the sea, Tasman Sea, and then that they found Australia. And then this last, I did add a 6th one, and that was kind of wrapping it up. What happened at the end of his voyage, what year it was 1771 when he completed the voyage. He went back to England. I abbreviated England. Technically I still have 3 words. So back to England, first circumnavigation of the globe. So there's a little sample of my keyword outline from that first voyage. So would anyone like to kind of share what you have, some of the words that you have on your outline? Go ahead, Bronx. What do you have?
So for mine, I have first voyage, lieutenant, and Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
My second one, surviving, mapping, HMS. And for my third one, I have 1771, Sailors, Dangerous, and Sun.
That's for your
I-
third one.
I-
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't gotten too far.
So I think you might want to save 1771 toward the end of your outline, because that's the end of his voyage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wonder if you should move that one down to either 5 or 6. And then the only other one I was concerned about is the HMS. You didn't write Endeavor. And I don't know if you'll remember that when you go to write your report, but you might want to do, what was that one again where you have HMS? Tell me what you have on that line.
For the second one,
I think it's the second one. Yeah.
surviving, serving, mapping, and HMS.
Surveying, mapping. Oh, surveying, mapping, and HMS is what you have on there. You could write
Yes.
Endeavor.
Okay.
Yeah, because you only have surveying and mapping. Those are the 2 words, and HMS is an abbreviation. We don't know what it stands for, but I would write Endeavor after that because that's the name of the ship.
Got it.
Okay, cool. But you're on the right track. And you're kind of picking and choosing from this paragraph and piecing it together. But I do think you should hold off on the 1771 till the end. So what do you have, Abby, for your Roman numeral 2 so far?
I copied what you wrote, the first voyage, Pacific Ocean.
Okay,
1768, Royal Society, and I drew a little picture for planned, and then I wrote expedition.
okay,
JC, Lieutenant, Bark, HMS Endeavor.
okay,
Transport, and then I abbreviated Royal Society for RS.
okay,
Tahiti, and then I drew a bunch of symbols and I wrote Venus.
okay.
And then let's see. After I used a lot of symbols on this one.
I noticed you like symbols. I've noticed that, and that's okay. You just don't want to go too crazy on the symbols.
Yeah, I kind
But
of.
what do you have for your symbols?
Okay. I abbreviated Tahiti just for T. So I wrote after T. I drew a picture for sailing Southwest, reached NZ, 6 months. And then I have a picture for like charting the islands, I think.
You drew a picture for that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty detailed for a little spot like that. How did you do a little chart, like a little,
I just drew like a map.
oh, like a map. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. I love it. Okay. And then islands, you just drew like a land with water around it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good. Do you have more after that?
Oh, yeah. For number 5, I wrote Tasman Sea headed IO for Indian Ocean.
Okay.
And then my last one is a bunch of symbols for his trip around the southern tip of Africa to England to complete his first circumnavigation.
Okay. So I know it's hard. I know you, Abby, and you want to include everything, which is admirable. It really is. So you don't have to include everything though. That's kind of what is unique about this type of report writing is you can leave some of the information out. So just keep that in mind. You can leave it the way it is right now, because I know you've got all your symbols and stuff there, and that's good. But for the paragraph 3, it can be more generic. It doesn't have to include, like I didn't even include the Royal Society. I left that part out. So that's the thing that you can do, is just kind of get the main points. If you want to have that in there, you can keep it in there. But does that make sense, Abby?
Yeah.
Okay, good. But you're doing really good. And it's hard. It's like, well, that's good too. And I want to keep that. And I want to make sure to include that. So I feel you. It is. But good job. It sounds like you're on a good track, and that's going to help you really write a great paragraph. So, okay. So Paisley, what do you have going so far for your Roman numeral 2?
I don't have a lot. I have the 1768, and I did RS, Royal Society. Scientific exploration, and then I have JC for James Cook Command. And then I have for the second one, well, the second one I actually mixed up with the third one.
Okay. What do you have for the second one so far?
I have the transport scientist RS Graffiti.
Okay.
And
RS
then,
is Royal Society.
yeah.
Okay.
And then for the third one, I have the Lion, the HM and how do you that?
You're working on the third one. So I think you're putting, are you
Yeah.
putting your papers on your computer, your laptop? Because I think your microphone is like picking up your paper sounds. I don't know if you're setting your papers on your laptop, but.
Oh no, my little sister is here too, so maybe you're hearing her.
Oh, with her papers. Okay, that's okay. But yeah, it sounds like you're on the right track. And by the way, guys, I wanted you to know that it's okay to even rearrange the order. It doesn't have to be exactly written like this. I mean, you don't want to mess up like he goes to New Zealand and then he goes to Tahiti. You got to keep that in the right order. But the information, I guess that's not a good example for this one. But if you're talking about like his skills, it doesn't have to be an exact order of how it's written in the original story. If you're focusing on his skills, like he's really good with astronomy, and I think they talked about the different trigonometry. Those are some skills he learned growing up. And you can talk about how he also paid attention to details and he kept his crew really healthy. So just so you know, for future, when you're doing these outlines, you're basically pulling the facts, but you put it in the order that makes sense to you. Okay. The voyage is a little different because there is a specific order that he went in his voyage. Okay, so you guys are on the right track, all three of you. So your assignment this week is going to be to go ahead and finish your outline and your keyword outline with number 3 as well. So let's go ahead and just write in number 3 and the numbers here. Oh, yeah, okay. 5. And then 6 and clincher. And I think we were going to talk about his death and his fame here. So maybe a note on the side to remind you death. Because logically that makes sense when you're doing a report about a person, especially if the person already died. You know, obviously that was years ago. So you want to talk about his early life in the beginning, and then you can decide in the middle what part to focus on. But then at the end, it makes sense to kind of draw it together with his death and fame. Now, leading up to his death, though, in this story, in this article, he is on a voyage. So you're going to want to talk about that voyage, that last voyage, and what was going on at the time. So you want to lead into his death and talk about what was happening at the time. And they were attacked, right? So you want to talk about that voyage in 1779 and talking about the natives that stole his boats. And he was planning to take the chief hostage. You want to lead up to his death and then what made him famous. Okay. So I'm thinking here for you guys. Okay, I got to ask you an honest question because I don't want to give you too much homework. But I kind of want you to finish 2 and 3 outline and then write paragraphs 2 and 3. Can you guys manage that this week? Or is that like, I don't know how long it takes you to write a paragraph from here. Does that seem like too much or is that good? You can be honest with me. What do you think, Bronx? Finish up Roman numeral 3 and then write both paragraphs. How long do you think that would take you? And do you think that's too much for a week homework?
No, I think it's good.
You're good with that? All right. How about you guys, Abby and Paisley? Abby's good, Paisley. Okay, good. All right then, because I kind of want to keep going in this book. There's some good stuff coming up. And I want to keep pushing through. So that'll be your homework then. Go ahead and you'll do your grammar pages, finish your outline, and then go ahead and write paragraphs 2 and 3, add to the paragraph you already did for this week. And you'll see on Google Classroom, I'm starting to require you to upload your checklist with the check marks. I think that's helping you guys. Last time you did so much better with that, Mike the Headless Chicken. So include your checklist and make sure you got the topic clincher for each paragraph. You're going to highlight or bold those words and then remember the new title. Okay, that also is on there. So you're going to create a new title instead of Captain Cook. It's going to be something different. And that last sentence has that double job of being a clincher for that paragraph and connecting to the title. Okay, I'm a little bit long today, but you guys, in fact, last week, I totally lost track of time. I went all the way to 11 o'clock. So sorry about that. Anyway, that's your homework. If you don't have any questions, I will see you guys next week. Bye. Have a good week, you guys.
I had one question.
Okay, good. Yes.